Welcome to the Real Estate Show on KMED. June the 4th is our date of 2016. Pete Belcastro, one of the real estate guys with you here today. Joe's off today, but hey, thanks for joining us. We're real estate brokers with John L. Scott in Southern Oregon, and we get together with you once a week here on KMED to talk about all sorts of real estate-related activities and issues and topics. And, well, actually in another month, it'll be celebration year number 7. So we know that all over the years that the listeners to our show are the smartest real estate consumers around because, well, we have the greatest guests around, and you know all the information really before anybody else does, which is really kind of a cool thing, I must say, for that. Well, today here on our show, Frank Mania is a sales executive with Ticor Title, and has been with Ticor, a long time. When we started our shows 7 years ago, Ticor was one of our original partners in the show, and Frank's been coming on ever since.
Sure.
So first of all, nice to have you back.
Hi, Pete. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good.
Good.
What happened to the weather? What happened to this beautiful weather now? Oh, my goodness, it's hot.
It's summertime.
Yeah, it is.
It's summertime.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's after Memorial Day. I can't complain, huh?
It hits.
Yeah.
It's just time. We're due for the hot weather.
And of course, traveling around the valley. Remember last year at this time, we had no water, the lakes. I mean, everything, and how much a year makes. What a difference! I mean, people are out. It's great.
We're looking a lot better on the reservoirs and lakes this year, but it's still. I mean, we're coming into the dry season here.
Well, this year it's going to be a good water year because we have enough stored. It's that storage that's always the issue. So, and again, the water managers I've learned over the years are fabulous how they manage the water system in Jackson County, from Lost Creek to Immigrant Lake up to Hyatt Lake. It's amazing to watch what they do. Well, anyway, that's just kind of a little side story there, but do be careful if you're out on the water and enjoy the weekend, that's for sure. Frank, what in the world's going on? We talk about, just the residential market. If you're buying right now, and you're selling, I mean, it's a hot market. Commercial side, I mean, you seeing this? Tell me what you're seeing down there at Ticor these days.
Everything. Everything. I was talking with someone today. He's one of the local builder developer contracts, and they do a lot of industrial buildings, metal buildings, and he was saying today that they are getting so many inquiries about what it's going to cost to build this size building in this part of Medford or out in White City. Well, what's it going to cost me to build this building? And my question to him was, are these local people are expanding, or are they people looking from out of the area? And he said most of them are from out of the area. So out of the area, looking at the valley.
Right.
So
that follows what Colleen Padilla.
Yes.
From SoReady, by the way, who's the new SoReady executive director.
Yes.
But she was with us a few weeks ago, and one of the things that she was saying was there was not enough, that they could not find large industrial kinds of buildings anywhere,
right,
to meet what she said was a need, and you're backing that up.
That's it. That's right. I mean, we're looking at shortages in almost every aspect of real estate right now. We're seeing retail coming online, and we'll talk about that.
Okay.
But of course, Colleen's spot on. I mean, the industrial is an issue. I've had people say to me, some of my clients, hey, if you see any office space coming available, newer office space in the business corridors, we want to move. We want better visibility, better parking. It's just not out there. I mean, there's a lot of talk about it. There's a lot of planning going on. There's a lot of inquiries about space.
What have you heard? I mean, you can't do shows in real estate almost anymore. And I don't want to talk about recreational marijuana a lot today with you, but how has that affected that particular part of commercial real estate? Because in Washington and Colorado, we hear stories, and you read stories about there's not enough, indoor capacity. Is that the same type of thing, or is this more broad-based, hopefully, than is of somebody wanting to be a grower?
I'm going to admit I don't know the answer to that question.
Okay.
No, I mean, the business that I'm seeing is a lot of retail is what's coming on. So,
all right.
Yeah.
All right. And well, we know that the industrial parts are not there. We need those as well. So your eye is on everything. You know what's going on. Tell us what we might see in the future. What's going through the process? What's going to change in our valley in the next year or so?
Well, Pete, when I came to the valley in 1989, okay, and that point in time, there was a lot of discussion about a Walmart coming to town, and the first Walmart came to town. And then out of the clear blue, a Costco kind of showed up, and a whole bunch of stores kind of all showed up in that area.
At that time, and people who are new will not know this, but when where Costco is and Walmart out there, at that time, in 1989, when you were here, and I was here a few years at that time as well, that was a big pear orchard all the way down there, wasn't it?
That's what I understand. That's it. Yeah, that was all new to me when I got here.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, it was gone it was chopped down one day, and
it was
there.
Gone. And then there was a lot of discussion going on about the South Interchange, second Fred Meyer's, and the Hometown Buffet, and a few other stores all came at the same time. And there was a group that was an investor group that was also looking at one of the interchanges in Central Point to do a major big barn shopping center at that point in time. That never happened. That never materialized. So I guess where I'm going with all that is, to me, that was what I saw there was kind of the stage and the foundation for growth for some period of time. These guys
did provide that. Then you're
that's
absolutely
right.
right.
These guys do their homework. I mean, they're not going to spend the millions of dollars and build these big stores, without knowing what the demographics or what the growth potential is in the valley. So. Along came Trader Joe's. That was kind of the first phase of that project. What we're seeing now is the next phase. We're seeing Dick's Sporting Goods come in. I saw a sign yesterday. Marshall's is coming into that center. Marshall's is coming in there. Ram, I guess, is a restaurant pub.
Oh, okay.
Field and China. I don't know that group.
And so where are these going to go out there? I mean, it's already like a traffic nightmare, isn't it? In some of that. I mean, where are these? Where's Dick's Sporting Goods going to go compared to Trader Joe's? In comparison, is it close by, across the street, or where?
No, it's in that same side. Yeah, you're seeing the buildings come out of the ground now. What you're seeing, that's all the next phase.
And that's there,
right?
So do you see this? You talked about phases. Do you see? Have we reached that retail level, I guess, that you don't need anymore? You have everything? Or are we going to go through a phase here? Do you think we're going to see a bunch more come on over a period of time again, a short period of time?
Oh, I think we're going to see a bunch more come on.
Okay.
Yeah, because Medford, and this topic has come up over and over the years. I've gotten into discussions with commercial real estate brokers and commercial lenders, and when Trader Joe's was started their construction, I was talking with a commercial loan officer, and his comment was, there isn't a demographic in Medford that could support Trader Joe's. And he's absolutely right, because it's not a local demographic that supports Trader Joe's.
It's not just the Medford demographic. It's the region.
It's the region,
regional.
And that was the same discussion we got into when Walmart came, and that's why they built the superstores, all the superstores, and Costco. And of course, we've seen what Costco a discussion I got into with a realtor back when Costco first came out of the ground. His comment to me was, I had asked him if he had been to the new Costco. And he had said to me, that store will never make it in Medford. Well, it turned out in the first couple of years, it was the most profitable store in the Costco chain in the Pacific Northwest, because it's not a local demographic. It's not for the local demographic. We're a regional shopping hub, And
so that's why that's why we're seeing more of the retail coming just into Medford, because it seemed like everything concentrates right somewhere in between the Medford exits, or a little bit.
That's correct. One of the original developers, or one of the original partners for the group that's developing the Trader Joe's Dick's Sporting Goods project, at one point in time they were talking about hotels, where the old Hungry Woodsman restaurant was. Right, because people come here and they stay overnight and they shop. We have the issue of sales tax. That's a whole other topic we don't want to get into. But people come to Southern Oregon, and spend the night or two in a hotel, do all their shopping, no sales tax, and then go back to California or wherever they're going. So, no, I mean, I think that we're going to continue to see growth in the area. To continue to support the regional concept of shopping here in Southern Oregon.
And it keeps developing. With more new buildings and more kinds of things coming along.
Right.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? How that is developing. What have you heard about? I know of the conference center, and people I know argue that up and down for years and years. It makes so much sense to me. I hope the study is positive. What do you think about that? Is that an economic thing? Do people talk about that in the circles that you run with? Is that even mentioned? Because look at what U.S. Cellular Field has done. I know the city of Medford Parks is looking, at a new recreation center that would do the same type of thing. They draw local people in from all over. What was a conference center? What are you hearing about that?
I think we're missing the boat.
By not having
one.
Yeah, okay.
I really do. One of the issues that we've kind of struggled a little bit with is hotel motel space, and we're seeing a lot of new hotels and some new hotels coming out of the ground right now.
At the South Medford interchange.
At the South Medford.
And those are big. Those are pretty big hotels.
Those are huge.
Yeah.
Those are huge. But back, I'm going to kind of make this comment about the Eagle Point Golf Course, and I've gotten into that discussion with the head pro up there a few months ago. When that golf course was built, it was intended to host PGA events. And the issue we struggled with at the time was hotel space. I mean, you're going to bring the PGA here. Where are they going to stay? Mm-hmm. Okay, so that was kind of an issue. And I'm going to say not unfortunately, but what's happened technologically in the sport, the equipment has gotten so much better that the course can't accommodate the PGA right now.
The course can't. Is that right?
It's too short. It's too small.
No kidding.
Yeah. It's not too small for me because I don't hit that far.
Wow. Well, in Eagle Point, for example, there's not even a motel room in the city of Eagle Point.
No, actually, the guys that were originally developing that project, they had a commitment at the time from the Marriott Group to build a hotel out there.
Really?
Yes.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty good to know.
Right.
What else is going on? What other developments that you're seeing come through that people are talking about that may happen around? We saw the one there at the North Gate and that kind of thing. What else you think?
Yeah, there's there's a Colorado group that submitted a plan to Medford, and this project is right across the street, actually, where the old Hungry Woodsman property restaurant was. And their proposal on a portion of that property was to build 58,000 feet of office and retail.
Mm-hmm. Okay. 58,000?
58,000 feet.
Wow. I mean, it just seems like that's such a lot. And I think that, God, there's no way they could fill that. But that's not true, is it? I mean, these things... The demand is there to do this.
Yes.
Even though a few years ago, remember, folks, everything was vacant. You were sitting in here a few years ago bemoaning the fact that how much vacant space there was.
That's right.
How people were renters were renewing contracts for lower fees.
Right.
And that is totally reversed, hasn't it?
We've taken a 180-degree turn on all of that right now.
Just like the residential real estate market, a total 180-degree turn.
That's right.
Wow.
That's right.
That's okay. All right.
And we've got people, let's kind of look at what's happened to the area. I mean, what's attracting people to the area? I mean, it's a great place to retire. I mean, we're getting a lot of very positive press about Oregon.
Yeah, and if you're seeing in the commercial real estate activity of people wanting to come here from out of the area, that also coincides with the residential real estate market because 40% of the sales in Jackson County are from out of the area.
Right.
People coming here from out of the area. So think about that.
Well,
if there's 600 sales in a period of time, mm-hmm. and 40% of those are people from outside the area, that's a lot of new people.
Well, yeah, and we're getting press and the notoriety of top 20 places for visitors to visit is Ashland and Jacksonville. Top 5 states to retire in, Oregon. Yeah. Top 10 wine destinations in the world is Southern Oregon. I mean,
what's going to happen to us?
I don't know. I spoke to a realtor here a couple weeks ago, and he said he had an investor who bought 2 fourplexes from him sight unseen. I mean, sight unseen. So.
Well, we're I guess our secret is certainly out, and we've talked about that. How what a desirable place this is, and we're seeing that. I wonder, what's going to happen with us? I mean, we don't have enough housing. The rental housing market, as you know, look at it. And yet I know there's some projects are coming on, it looks like, that's going to at least, I don't know how much it's going to help it, but at least you got to start somewhere with some new houses, with some new rental housing.
That's right. And we're still kind of struggling with trying to, get plats approved for new subdivisions by the time it gets through, the city and the planning departments. It takes a long time to get a project approved. And the financing of these projects, a lot of the financing is coming from private money sources.
Private money sources.
Right. So the banks still are not on board yet with financing subdivisions and new construction.
Okay.
And I actually got into a discussion with a realtor one day, and she said, and her comment to me was, we've had this housing shortage for such a long period of time. Why weren't we building houses all along?
We didn't build a house here for 5 years.
I know,
almost.
but look at the carrying costs for all that. I mean, financially, it just wouldn't make sense for, and I can't imagine a lender kind of taking that kind of a risk, to build 400 or 500 houses in a market where at the time there was no demand.
I remember Shelley Culbertson, from Tyco, she was in our show saying there's going to be a housing shortage, and we were laughing at her, remember?
We'll talk about that when we come back.
She said at some point it's going to come back and haunt us, and it certainly has done it right now. We're with Frank Mania, the sales executive from Tyco Title on the Real Estate Show today. Well, all about commercial real estate, what's going on, what you might expect. Good show. We're coming right back. More to KMED with Frank right after this. The Real Estate Show continues here on KMED. June the 4th is our date of 2016. Pete Belcastro with you here today, along with Frank Mania, sales executive from Tyco Title here in the Rogue Valley. Well, next week here on the Real Estate Show, Joe Heim will be along. She's a real estate broker at John L. Scott, and we'll have a John L. Scott Market Watch show for you. It gives you update. We'll have the new MLS that's out. And we'll see how March, April, and May have ended up. And as Frank was just saying this, it's going to be amazing, the amount of activity that is going on. I've never seen it. I've never seen the like. I was not here in 2007, prior to the great crash. But, I mean, it's so interesting to me to watch it happen.
Right. And
still know that and this is such a supply and demand business.
Yep, absolutely right.
And our listeners know that, certainly in residential sales, we have been selling more than are being replaced with new listings.
Right.
Thus, we have this gap that is continuing to grow, which is putting pressure on prices and is putting pressure really on buyers because there's so many times now, as you say also, this at Tycor, multiple offers are really, in certain price ranges, you're really seeing that. And you got to be prepared, folks, if you really want a place in some of these because, again, there's just not enough supply, and so the demand is just outstripping that supply. I mean, that's as simple as that, isn't it?
And multiple offers, and it's not only Southern Oregon, it's just Oregon in general, and I there was a realtor, I understand, that wrote a contract in the Portland area at $600,000 with a $100,000 escalation clause.
An escalator clause.
An escalator
in
clause,
a real estate agreement. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I had a friend of mine, Jim Sudi, who was a former engineer here at Bi-Coastal Radio. He bought a place in Portland. He wrote me. He got an offer, $50,000 over his asking price.
Right.
That's how crazy the Portland market is. The thing that scares me, and maybe I'm crazy on it, Frank, but that scares me that that's going to happen here, that we're going to have this humongous, I don't know, I don't want to call it a crash or anything, but all this is going on right now. I don't know if it's sustainable, how long it's sustainable, or how we're going to get any relief in the future on it.
Well, Pete, I kind of my own personal opinion on all this too is education and finance and making the step and purchase real estate. And I know we've talked about this in the past. And how much should you really put down? What should you really be buying? What's your comfort range in your own personal finances? And to me, and I've seen my generations, my family generations, they bought a house, they paid it off, and they stayed there. And we kind of got caught up here a little bit in flipping these houses every couple of years and moving on, and that created an artificial demand. So, I kind of tell people too. I mean, when you're looking at purchasing a house, make sure it's right for you and it's something that you're going to be into long term. If you look at real estate over the last 100 years, or you look at the graphs, we've seen corrections in the real estate market. It's going to happen, and it's going to happen again. Okay. But again, if your intent is to get into something, into a neighborhood that you like, something that you're really comfortable with, a house you can live in for a long period of time, you can weather that correction, and in the long run, as population increases, it's going to it'll come back and appreciate in value. We're back to the supply and demand factor again, and you'll see your appreciation again in real estate.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you need a place to live anyway.
Yeah, and one thing, real estate is a tangible asset as opposed to stocks and things like that. It's still a tangible asset that has value.
Right.
Well, I had a buyer, a friend of mine actually, and this was his first home he bought. And I remember I handed him the keys and I told him, okay, you have just went from the average renter of a $5,400 value that they generally, that's what their net worth is of a renter in this country. Yeah. I said, congratulations, you went from $5,000 to $194,000 net value because you now are a homeowner.
Right.
Just like that. Look what you did to your position.
That's right.
By doing that.
That's right. And we really can still, we're still very fortunate. We're in a country where you can do that. That's still an option, to be able to buy real estate and own your own personal residence.
Yeah, and have that freedom to do that.
That's
for
right.
Sure. Well, back to the commercial side of things around the valley. What's going on? I drive by, the old Stewart Meadows area down on Stewart Avenue and Garfield down in that area. There's a lot of activity going on in there. What's going to come out of that? What's going on there, Frank?
The owner of that property has been working on a mixed-use master plan development for several years now. They also own the golf course.
Right.
The Stewart Meadows Golf Course, and the driving range, if you haven't noticed, has gone away.
Yes, it is gone.
The driving range has gone away, and that's part of the new master plan. The street's kind of been is going to be redirected. It kind of went through the old driving range area, and there's going to be some apartments in there. We're going to see mixed use and office and retail. Maybe some industrial development in there.
Now, that's owned by the Kogat.
The
right?
Kogat
Group, and that was, many people remember, former Mayor Jerry Losman. That was his company.
That's right.
That's
right. Yes.
See, for your old timer, you remember the Kogat Mill was there.
Right.
which has long been gone out of there.
Yeah.
So how many acres is that development kind of thing?
Oh, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the total acreage is. I know the first building is that they're planning on building is for the Providence Group. That's kind of been out in the press a little bit. It's and there's going to be a couple other medical buildings right on that corner there. And again, I think that the intent is to build some office and retail space, throughout that project, throughout that site.
And they obviously, are obviously sinking in a ton of money into this thing. So they obviously think that they can fill it and be successful and make some money and profit by doing this. Correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah,
that's correct. Yeah. And some of the, we're beginning to see some financing from the local commercial banks in commercial development. Not on the residential development side. There's money available for to purchase real estate, residential homes. There's been funds available for development on the commercial side. But not on the residential subdivision side yet. So
they're still gun shy from 10 years ago, aren't they? From that kind of thing.
Right.
Well, but you said that private money. You're seeing a lot of that rather than, the banks are not doing it. The banks are not loaning. That's a whole other story. Anyway, but you're seeing private money.
Private money.
And we had a show a couple people may remember a couple of weeks ago about private money doing these kind of developments. So that's what's going on.
Yeah, there's been a lot of money that when the market crashed years ago that they kind of got pulled back and got just kind of been retained in the sidelines now. And some of the articles I've read over the years is that there's literally billions of dollars just sitting in the sidelines that they need to do something with. Our economic crisis, of course, was the U.S. and some of the investment money, we've seen this before in the Valley, is coming out of Canada.
Out of Canada,
Canada, right? And also some real estate investment trusts.
The REITs, the real estate investment trusts.
The real estate investment trusts.
So those are what some of the projects that you're talking about are being funded
financed
by that. Not the way we would normally. Well, there is no normal anymore. There is no normal anymore.
It's the new normal.
Yeah, it's not banks doing it. It's private money doing these kind of developments.
That's right,
now.
right. Even on the residential development side, again, like I said, even the old golf course up on the Cedar Links project. Some of that's being financed by private money.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, see, it comes full circle all the way through. What else in Medford are we? Let me ask you about Costco out in Central Point.
Yes.
What do you think about that? Do you think it's ever going to go there? Because I have mixed feelings about that and what they've done there. But tell me what your thoughts are.
Well, it's interesting you brought that up.
Okay, yeah.
Glad you brought that up. No.
Okay.
Because I spoke with the city planner yesterday in Central Point, and what they're waiting for, there's been an appeal filed at LUBA. So they're waiting for the hearing at LUBA so they can start proceed or not proceed. He's fairly confident at this point in time that it's still a go. I mean, the intent is to build the Costco, right around the corner from us over here. The traffic, I get into discussions about
traffic,
about traffic, and City Central Point told me that there's already been funds from the state allocated to redo Table Rock Road. That's going to happen whether Costco gets there or not.
I love mitigation. We're going to mitigate that. No problem, folks. We'll mitigate that right out of the way.
Traffic lights are coming.
We're with Frank Mania on the Real Estate Show. We got one more segment to go today. Don't you dare go away. We're talking commercial real estate. What's going on in the Rogue Valley? He's got a lot more to share with us. We're coming right back to KMED right after this. Real Estate Show continues here on KMED today. Pete Belcastro with you here. And don't forget, if you have any real estate questions, we're happy to answer anything you've got. You can contact us at, you can write to us or email or call. You can go to realestateShowOregon.com. All the information is there, as well as all of our past shows, both cable TV and radio. You can catch any of our past shows, and we've had some really, really interesting programs, as you may well know as the real estate market rolls along here. We're into June already. Summer school, graduations are already happening. A lot of them have taken place. And heck, we're heading into summer. I mean, it's summer now. It's Memorial Day, and away we go. We're talking today with Frank Mania from Tycor Title. He's a sales executive there, and kind of the resident commercial real estate guru in Jackson, Josephine counties. I was just going to tell you this because I was in Grants Pass the other day, and downtown Grants Pass, I saw one vacant storefront. One.
Right.
And it wasn't that long ago Grants Pass looked like a ghost town almost downtown, like Medford did, whatever. I was just amazed at how much activity is going on in that old downtown in Grants Pass.
Yes, I was actually just there yesterday, and it was really busy downtown. Yeah. I mean, it's a very active center for.
But it's not the commercial hub that Medford is, even though Winco went there, things like that. It's not that type of a thing.
No, Winco's kind of a little bit on the outskirts of their city down there, same with Home Depot.
They're down there with all the other boxes. The other box stores.
Right. But there's still a lot of small mom and pop operations in downtown Medford. A lot of in Grants Pass and a lot of restaurants. Small restaurants. It's a pretty active place.
It's so neat. I have to say, Grants Pass is very nice. And if you haven't been downtown in a while there, really suggest you go down and take a look. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, a lot different than, I would say, downtown Medford.
We're not going there.
But it looks like they're at least now getting more people going to be living downtown. There's a big new complex, affordable housing complex down by Jackson ESD. There's another one planned close by there. I don't know the names of them all, but so we're seeing that part of it happen. Is that going to help?
I think the whole demeanor of downtown Medford is, it's been changing over the years. And some of the things I've read over the years is when you have education, like colleges start moving into downtown, it changes the whole demeanor of the town. And businesses kind of move out of that space. That isn't an area that they want to be. And we've seen businesses move into. I think some of the issues too with some of the buildings down there are they're just old. They just don't meet code.
The buildings downtown.
Exactly.
They're pretty old.
And the cost to bring those buildings up to code today. It's very expensive. And if you look at what happened to the old post office in the county, that's a perfect example.
And I was surprised that Alan Sandler has not been able to build. The city has not approved his building of that, the place over the parking lot down across from RCC with 2 floors with 2 floors of apartments on them and things like that. I mean, those are things that really kind of make downtowns, I don't know,
make them downtown.
Make them downtown.
Exactly.
Instead of, you can't park here and you can't park there. It's just, I don't get, of all the wonderful things we talk about Medford, that's still, they've been doing that for as long as we've been here, haven't they? That issue has not changed.
No. And developing areas like downtown areas where you park and live and, walk to stores kind of a thing. I mean, and that's where we're seeing a migration of the millennials to the big cities. I mean, because they're not interested in cars.
Now, I think one of the things that probably is overlooked a lot is, the Rogue Valley Transportation District, passed that budget, which I'm really glad. And I voted for that, by the way. I hope a lot of you did too. People need that transportation. That's an economic development thing too, isn't it? Mm-hmm. That's really important in a community like ours to have that for people.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Mass transit. I mean, we just don't have it.
Yeah, and I hope they do well with it, and I hope they increase their ridership, and I hope it works for them.
Sure.
Because we do need that. We're almost going to be out of time. Rural properties. I say it on our show. It's like a gold rush is on for our Jackson and Josephine County rural properties. They are being gobbled up. People are getting their prices for them if you want off of them. But wow, I don't know where it's.
I keep hearing things about, and I've talked to a couple of lenders that are doing a lot of manufactured home lending from people who are coming in out of the area that are looking for 2 acres, 3 acres, moving manufactured homes. That they can make like we talked about before. They can make those numbers work for them within a reasonable budget, and they're getting out of the cities. Yeah. That's kind of the way it is.
Well, and we're seeing the baby boomers, which we are all a part of, who are retiring in numbers, and boy, they are coming here.
Yes.
I think every agent that we've had in our meetings and office meetings, I always ask those questions: who's coming? And the first answer is certainly retirees.
Absolutely. Yeah.
A lot of them are from California, so moving up here. They've come up, they've traveled up in here, they've planned for this. And a lot of that is taking place now. So
absolutely,
we're seeing
that's what we're seeing.
And that's putting pressure on prices and part of the demand that we're talking about all the way around, isn't it?
Absolutely,
crazy.
Because their cash input is a lot higher than our wages can usually generate for savings. So
and cash, and cash buys kind of distort the market somewhat because there's no appraisals.
That's right.
I mean, I tell you, agent and appraisals. Just because you think the price of your house is X, the appraiser may not agree with that.
That's right.
And we're seeing that, I don't want to say a lot, but it certainly happens. And you have to be aware of that because what are you going to do? You're going to lose a sale over it. Someone's going to have to lose money. Someone's going to have to do something. So you want to price your house, of course, accordingly as best you can because appraisers are behind the market.
That's right. That's right. Now we see the carrybacks and private financing again.
That's where it comes back in.
As it comes back in again in cash sales.
And if interest rates around that, between 3.5, 3.6% up to 3.8%, as long as they stay there, this market is going to continue to go.
Yes.
If those prices, if the interest rates start creeping up to 4 and 5%, it's going to be a big slowdown because the higher priced properties are going to be unaffordable.
It'll be a deterrent, absolutely.
So, wow, what an interesting market this is, isn't it, Frank?
I know. And, like we were talking about before, we got groups that are in one group in the area, it's going to be building 300, maybe even 600 houses here.
Yeah. You're talking about Hayden Homes,
Hayden
right?
Homes.
They're building over there on Spring Street.
Correct.
And it looks like they're filling those places
They're
up.
about sold out over there.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Well, and that's and their prices are in an affordable price range that we're seeing in that $230 range, $250 range, $220 range. So, I mean, that's where the available inventory is very low. In that 150,000, 200,000 range, there's very little of it. 250, very little of it. And that's why we're getting, because you know, the multiple offers. Well, everything's under siege, it seems like, so we'll see what happens. What do you think? Going to be a big summer? Going to be a lot of activity? I bet when you come back maybe in the fall or maybe I can imagine how different our discussion will be.
Yeah. Again, I think we're going to have a whole lot more retail to be going to next Christmas.
So Frank says we're not at the end of the retail show. There's still more businesses out, more boxes to come.
Yes.
Oh, I don't know if that's good or not. I still can't figure that out.
Yes, it's coming.
Nice to visit with you,
Good
Frank.
to see you, Pete.
From
Thank you.
Tycor Title. That'll do it for the Real Estate Show. Have a great week, everybody. God bless. We'll talk to you next Saturday right here on KMED.
You've been listening to The Real Estate Show on KMED AM and FM radio, presented by John L. Scott Real Estate of Southern Oregon, along with All Cities Property Management, the Home Builders Association of Jackson County, Ditech Mortgage, the Jackson Soil and Water Conservation District, and the Rogue Valley Association of Realtors. For guest information or to watch a past show, visit us online at realestateshoworegon.com. Join us again next weekend for Southern Oregon's one and only Real Estate Show on KMED.